The silent threat. Captain Alina Reyes stood at the observation deck of the HSS Horizon, watching the stars streak by as the massive colony ship carried 10,000 sleeping passengers toward their new home. After 15 years in command, she still found the sight mesmerizing. Ribbons of light against the void, humanity reaching deeper into the cosmos. Captain, we're detecting unusual energy patterns at coordinates 347 to 980 to 104, reported Lieutenant Kai Chen, the ship's sensor officer. His dark eyes were fixed on the holographic display, fingers dancing across the interface. Alina frowned. We're still 3 months from the Proxima system. There shouldn't be anything out here. The signals are like nothing in our database, Kai said, forwarding the data to her personal tablet. It's not random radiation or stellar phenomena. The pattern was indeed strange. Pulses of energy that seemed to follow a mathematical sequence, too precise to be natural. Alina's instincts, honed through decades of deep space exploration, triggered warning bells in her mind. Alert Dr. Okafor and bring us to yellow status, she ordered. I want a full scan of the sector. Within hours, the Horizon's science team had confirmed what Alina feared. They were not alone. A vessel of unknown origin was traveling on an intercept course, its propulsion system unlike anything humans had encountered before. The ship didn't reflect light as expected. Instead, it seemed to bend space around itself, creating a visual distortion that made it difficult to determine its true size. Open a channel on all frequencies, Alina commanded. Standard first contact protocols. For 3 days, they transmitted greetings in every human language and mathematical code. On the 4th day, they received a response, a series of geometric shapes that gradually formed into recognizable symbols. Dr. Amara Okafor, the ship's xenolinguist, worked tirelessly to decipher the message. They call themselves the Syraxis, she finally reported. They claim to be explorers, like us. When the Syraxis ship came into visual range, Alina was struck by its beauty. The vessel resembled a living organism more than a constructed ship, iridescent plates that flowed and shifted like the scales of a fish, with no visible seams or propulsion systems. They're requesting permission to send a delegation aboard, Amara said, her voice betraying both excitement and apprehension. Alina hesitated. Protocol dictated caution, but this was the moment humanity had been preparing for since the first rockets left Earth's atmosphere. Prepare Docking Bay 3. Full security detail, but weapons concealed. We don't want to appear hostile. The Syraxis representatives were breathtaking. Tall, slender beings with skin that shimmered like their ship, changing colors subtly as they moved. Their forearms ended in delicate, 7-fingered hands, and their eyes, 3 of them arranged in a triangle on their faces, regarded the human delegation with what Alina interpreted as curiosity. We greet you in peace, the tallest Syraxis said, its voice a melodic hum that seemed to bypass the ears and resonate directly in the mind. We have watched your kind from afar. You are young, but ambitious. The initial meeting went well, with the Syraxis expressing interest in human culture and technology. They offered to share their knowledge of the sector, including star charts of regions humans had not yet explored. Alina remained cautious, but hopeful. This could be the greatest moment in human history, peaceful contact with an advanced civilization. That night, as Alina recorded her captain's log, the ship's AI interrupted her. Captain, I'm detecting unauthorized access to the main computer core. Alina's blood ran cold. Source: multiple access points, primarily in the engineering and life support sections. Security alert. Lock down all critical systems, Alina ordered, reaching for her sidearm. Alert all section heads. This is not a drill. By the time Alina reached the bridge, chaos had erupted. Security feeds showed Syraxis visitors moving with impossible speed through the ship's corridors, their forms shifting and changing as they went. Where they touched the ship's systems, components began to malfunction or shut down entirely. They're not just accessing our systems, Kai reported. his face pale. "They're rewriting them. The colony pods are being targeted. Life support systems are failing." Elena made a split-second decision. Emergency protocols. Initiate selective revival of security personnel and engineering teams. Seal off affected sections. As the ship's crew fought to regain control, Elena confronted the Syraxis leader in the conference room. The alien's skin had darkened to a deep indigo, its 3 eyes now glowing with an inner light. "Why?" Elena demanded. "We welcomed you in peace." "Peace is inefficient," the Syraxis replied, its voice now cold and mechanical. "Your species expands too quickly, consumes too much. You would eventually threaten our territories. Analysis indicates preemptive action is optimal. You're killing 10,000 innocent people. A necessary calculation. Your colony ships are targeted across this sector. Humanity will be contained." Elena raised her weapon, but the Syraxis moved faster than human reflexes could track. Its hand morphed into something sharp and metallic, slicing through her shoulder before she could fire. As she fell, bleeding, the alien swept from the room, leaving her to die. But Elena Reyes had not survived 15 years in deep space by giving up easily. Pressing her hand against the wound, she dragged herself to the emergency console and activated the ship-wide communication system. "All hands, this is Captain Reyes. The Syraxis are hostile. I repeat, the Syraxis are hostile. They've infiltrated our systems and are targeting the colony pods. Primary objective is to protect our passengers. Secondary objective is to warn Earth. They're attacking all colony ships in the sector." Throughout the ship, battles raged as the awakened crew fought against the Syraxis infiltrators. The aliens could manipulate their physical forms, slipping through barriers and adapting to attacks. But humans had one advantage: desperation. Chief Engineer Tomas Rodriguez and his team managed to isolate the ship's quantum communication array from the main systems. "Captain, we can send one message to Earth, but it'll drain our auxiliary power. We won't have enough left for life support." "Do it," Elena ordered. "Tell them everything. Send all our data on the Syraxis ships, their technology, their tactics. Earth needs to be ready." As the message was transmitted across the vast distance to Earth, Elena ordered the remaining crew to the emergency shuttles. The horizon was lost, but they might save some of the colonists. Elena stayed behind on the bridge, setting the ship on a collision course with the Syraxis vessel. As the distance between the ships closed, she looked out at the stars one last time. "You miscalculated," she whispered to the absent aliens. "Humanity doesn't surrender easily." The Horizon's engines flared to maximum power as it accelerated toward the Syraxis ship. Elena closed her eyes, thinking of Earth, a family, of a future she would never see. The impact, when it came, was strangely beautiful, a brief, brilliant flash against the darkness of space. Back on Earth, the quantum message arrived at the Planetary Defense Command. Admiral Caden Shaw, a veteran of the Mars conflict, stared at the data in disbelief as the implications became clear. "Sound the alert," he ordered. "All ships, all stations. We're at war." As sirens blared across Earth's orbital defense platforms, engineers and scientists began poring over the data from the horizon. In the observation room, Admiral Shaw watched as the holographic projections displayed the Syraxis ships and their capabilities. "They're unlike anything we've faced," his strategic officer commented. "Their technology is centuries beyond ours." Shaw's expression hardened. "Then we'll have to be smarter. Prepare the Defiance for immediate launch, and get me Dr. Isabel Chen from the Quantum Weapons Division. If anyone can find a weakness in these aliens, it's her." As Earth prepared for war, the stars seemed a little colder, the universe a little darker. But humanity was not alone in understanding the concept of preemptive action. The Syraxis had made a grave miscalculation. They had given humanity a reason to unite, to fight, and to prove what they were truly capable of when pushed to the edge of extinction. Part 2. Humanity's Counterattack. Admiral Caden Shaw stood on the bridge of the EDS Defiance, Earth's most advanced warship and humanity's best hope against the Syraxis threat. Unlike the sleek, curved lines of traditional vessels, the Defiance was angular and imposing, a testament to function over form. "Status report," Shaw demanded, his voice carrying the weight of Earth's expectations. Commander Ariam Nguyen, his second in command, responded with military precision. Battle group assembled, Admiral. 6 destroyer-class vessels, 4 cruisers, and the Defiance. The Colony Defense Fleet is mobilizing at Luna Base. Shaw nodded, studying the tactical display. The data from the horizon had been invaluable, providing insights into Syraxis technology and tactics. But it wasn't enough. They needed an edge. "Where's Dr. Chen?" he asked. "In the weapons labs, sir. She says she's made a breakthrough." Shaw found Dr. Isabel Chen surrounded by holographic equations and disassembled components. Her lab coat was stained with coffee, and her eyes were red from lack of sleep. But her face lit up when she saw him. "Admiral, I think I've found something," she said, gesturing to a simulation running on the main screen. "The Syraxis ships don't use conventional shields. They bend space-time around themselves, essentially creating a bubble of altered physics. Can we penetrate it?" "Not directly," Chen admitted. "But there's a flaw in their approach. Their space-time manipulation creates a specific frequency pattern. If we can generate a counter-frequency, we could disrupt their defenses," Shaw finished, understanding dawning. "Exactly. It's like creating a resonance that shatters a crystal glass. But we need to get close, dangerously close." Shaw's mind raced through the tactical implications. How long to modify our weapon systems? For the main cannon on the Defiance, 12 hours. For the smaller vessels, days we don't have. Then the Defiance will lead the attack, Shaw decided. "Begin the modifications immediately." As the battle group approached the Syraxis fleet's last known position, tension mounted on the bridge. Intelligence reports indicated the aliens had already destroyed 3 more colony ships, with countless lives lost. "Entering the Epsilon sector," announced the navigation officer. "Long-range sensors active." Shaw gripped the railing of the command platform. "Steady as she goes. All ships, maintain formation." The view screen showed only empty space and distant stars. Then, without warning, reality seemed to ripple. Where there had been nothing, now 5 Syraxis vessels appeared, their organic-looking hulls shimmering with energy. "They were there all along," Aria whispered. "Our sensors couldn't detect them." "Full battle stations," Shaw ordered. "Defensive pattern Delta. Prepare to execute Operation Sunbreak on my mark." The human fleet spread out, each ship moving to its assigned position. The Defiance pushed forward, its engines glowing with intensity as it accelerated toward the Syraxis fleet. "Sir, they're hailing us," the communications officer reported, surprised. Shaw hesitated, then nodded. On screen, the image of a Syraxis appeared, its skin a deep purple, eyes glowing with cold intelligence. "Human vessels, you have violated Syraxis space. Retreat or be eliminated. This is Admiral Caden Shaw of Earth Defense Force. You attacked our colony ships without provocation. You murdered thousands of innocent civilians. We will not retreat." The Syraxis' eyes narrowed. "Your species is aggressive and expansionist. Our analysis determined you would eventually threaten our civilization. Preemptive action was logical." "You don't understand humans very well then," Shaw replied. "We fight hardest when cornered." End transmission. As the screen went dark, Shaw turned to his crew. "Let's show them what humans are capable of. Execute Operation Sunbreak." The battle erupted in a spectacular display of energy weapons and maneuvering. The Syraxis ships moved with impossible grace, their weapons cutting through the void with devastating precision. 2 human destroyers were hit in the opening salvo, their hulls breached and crews fighting for survival. But the human fleet wasn't fighting conventionally. Each ship was executing a complex dance, moving in patterns that seemed random but were carefully calculated to force the Syraxis vessels into specific positions. "They're taking the bait," Area reported as the alien ships adjusted their formation to counter the human maneuvers. "The lead vessel is approaching optimal position." Shaw watched the tactical display, waiting for the perfect moment. Dr. Chen, status of the resonance cannon. "Online in charge, Admiral. But we'll only get one shot before they adapt. Then we make it count. All ships, execute Phase 2. The human fleet suddenly reversed course, confusing the Syraxis formation. In the chaos, the Defiance accelerated directly toward the lead alien vessel, a suicide run by any conventional assessment. "Resonance cannon locked on target," reported the weapons officer, his voice tight with tension. "Fire," Shaw commanded. The Defiance's main cannon released not a beam of energy or a physical projectile, but a focused wave of quantum distortion. It struck the Syraxis vessel's space-time bubble, and nothing happened. For a heartbeat, Shaw thought they had failed. Then the distortion around the alien ship began to fluctuate, ripples of energy cascading across its surface. The ship's organic-looking hull contorted as if in pain. "It's working," Chen exclaimed. "Their space-time field is collapsing." The Syraxis vessel's defenses failed catastrophically, its hull now exposed to conventional weapons. Shaw didn't hesitate. "All ships, concentrate fire on the lead vessel. Take it down." The human fleet responded with a coordinated barrage that tore through the unprotected Syraxis ship. It broke apart in a silent explosion, fragments spinning away into the void. But the victory was short-lived. The remaining Syraxis vessels, learning from their fallen comrade, adjusted their defenses. And they were angry. "Evasive maneuvers," Shaw ordered as the alien ships launched a devastating counterattack. The bridge of the Defiance shook violently as energy weapons impacted its shields. Systems failed across the ship, and casualty reports flooded in from all decks. "Shields at 12%, Area reported grimly. "We can't take another hit like that." Shaw's mind raced. They had proven the Syraxis could be hurt, but at terrible cost. Half the human fleet was damaged or destroyed. The resonance cannon had overloaded after one shot, but they had come too far to retreat. "Commander Nguyen, prepare to execute Contingency Omega," he ordered quietly. Area's eyes widened. "Sir, that's the only option we have left. Do it." While the battle raged, Dr. Chen had been working frantically at her station. "Admiral, I've analyzed the data from the destroyed Syraxis ship. Their hulls aren't constructed. They're grown. It's a form of organic technology." "How does that help us?" "Organic systems are vulnerable to radiation patterns that synthetic materials aren't. If we detonate our fusion cores in a specific sequence..." Shaw understood immediately. "We could create a radiation pulse that would target their organic technology without harming our ships." "Theoretically, yes, but it would require perfect timing." And what, Doctor?" Chen hesitated. "Someone would need to manually adjust the fusion containment fields from inside the engine room." Shaw stood. "I'll do it." "Sir, with all due respect," Area interjected, "you're needed on the bridge." "I'll go." After a moment of tense silence, Shaw nodded. "Make it count, Commander." As Area left the bridge, Shaw turned to the fleet communication. "All vessels, prepare for Operation Phoenix. Synchronize fusion cores and prepare for sequential detonation on my mark." Throughout the remaining ships, engineers worked frantically to adjust their fusion reactors according to Dr. Chen's specifications. The Syraxis continued their assault, methodically targeting the human vessels one by one. In the Defiance's engine room, Commander Area Nguyen moved through superheated air and sparking circuitry. The fusion core pulsed with barely contained energy, bathing everything in an eerie blue glow. "Talk to me, Doctor," she said through her comlink as she reached the main control panel. Chen's voice came through, strained but focused. "You need to reconfigure the containment field to cycle at frequency 12.8 terahertz. It'll create a harmonic cascade when synchronized with the other ships. As Aria worked, the ship shuddered violently. Another hit. Warning lights flashed across her panel. Containment field destabilizing, she reported. I'll have to manually hold the regulators in position. On the bridge, Shaw received the message with grim understanding. Aria wouldn't be coming back. Commander Nguyen, he said, his voice calm despite the chaos around him. It's been an honor. Likewise, Admiral, came the steady reply. Core modifications complete. Ready when you are. Shaw took a deep breath. All ships, initiate Phoenix Protocol on my mark. 3, 2, 1. Execute. Across the human fleet, fusion cores pulsed in perfect harmony, releasing precisely calibrated radiation bursts that combined into a massive wave. The energy wasn't visible to the naked eye, but the effect was unmistakable. The Syraxis ships began to convulse, their organic hulls reacting to the radiation like flesh to poison. It's working, Dr. Chen whispered, watching the sensor readings. Their molecular structure is breaking down. The Syraxis vessels try to retreat, their space-time bubbles fluctuating wildly as their organic technology failed. But it was too late. One by one, they lost cohesion, their beautiful flowing hulls becoming brittle and fracturing apart. In the Defiance's engine room, Commander Nguyen watched through a viewport as the alien ships died. The control panel beneath her hands was burning hot, searing her flesh, but she maintained her grip. The ship's AI counted down to core stabilization. She wouldn't survive to hear it reach 0. For Earth, she whispered as consciousness faded. When the radiation wave dissipated, only 3 human ships remained operational. The Defiance had survived, though heavily damaged. Of the Syraxis fleet, nothing remained but scattered debris drifting in the void. Admiral Shaw stood in the silent aftermath, watching the stars through the viewscreen. They had won, but at terrible cost. And this was just one battle in what promised to be a long war. Sir, a junior officer approached hesitantly. We're receiving transmission from Earth Command. The Syraxis have withdrawn from 3 other sectors. It appears they're retreating. Shaw nodded slowly. They didn't expect us to fight back so effectively. They're reassessing. Dr. Chen joined him at the view screen. We've bought time, Admiral. Time to prepare, to adapt what we've learned. And to honor those who gave everything to make it possible. Shaw added, thinking of Aria, of Captain Rice and the Horizon, of all those who had fallen. As the remaining ships limped back toward Earth, Shaw drafted his report to command. The words came with difficulty, but one truth was clear. Humanity had faced extinction and refused to surrender. Whatever came next, the Syraxis had learned a crucial lesson about the species they had underestimated. Humans might be young among the stars, technologically outmatched and seemingly vulnerable. But when pushed to the edge, when fighting for survival, they became something else entirely, resourceful, unpredictable, and utterly indomitable. In the vastness of space, word spread quickly among other watching civilizations. The humans had stood against the Syraxis and prevailed. Perhaps this young species warranted more careful observation. Perhaps they were more than they appeared to be. And on Earth, as news of the victory spread, people looked to the stars with new understanding. They were not alone in the universe, and not all who dwelled among the stars came in peace, but humanity would face whatever came next together, stronger for having been tested, ready to defend their place in the cosmos. For Captain Alina Reyes, for Commander Ariane Nguyen, for all those who had sacrificed, they would ensure that humanity's light continued to shine against the darkness of space. The end was only the beginning.